Lian and the Cloud Whale of Evening Harbor *. Once upon a time, in a place where the nights were always gentle and the days were never in a hurry, there lived a little boy named Lian. Lian lived in a small harbor town on the edge of a calm, quiet sea. His house was made of soft, warm wood that smelled faintly of salt and sun. Outside his window, boats rocked slowly on the water like cradles, rising and falling with every tiny breath of the tide. In the mornings, the air was cool and fresh. Thin mist curled over the surface of the sea, and the gulls called softly as they glided past. In the afternoons, the sun painted long strips of light across the harbor, turning the waves into ribbons of gold. And in the evenings, when everything softened and slowed, the sky grew the color of apricots and lavender, and the first stars blinked awake. It was a beautiful place, and yet, sometimes Lian felt very, very alone. He was not alone because no one else lived there. There were many people in Evening Harbor. There were fishermen and boat builders, bakers and weavers. There were old grandparents who sat outside their doors, sipping warm tea and watching the water. There were children too, laughing and playing along the shore. But most days, Lian felt just a little bit out of step with them all. The other children liked to shout and splash and race. They loved noisy games and fast chases, throwing stones and jumping off the pier. Their voices were bright and loud, bouncing off the water and the stone walls of the harbor. Lian preferred quiet things. He liked the way the sand looked when a wave washed over it and then disappeared, leaving faint silver lines behind. He liked the sound of the small clink when a boat's rope tapped against a wooden post. He liked to sit still and watch the sky change color, very slowly, as if it were taking deep, careful breaths. He loved the soft, in-between time when it was not quite day and not quite night, when the first lanterns began to glow and the sea turned to glass. Sometimes, when that time came and the sky was soft and the air was still, Lian's chest would feel warm and heavy at the same time. He would wish, more than anything, that he had someone who loved those quiet moments too. Someone who did not want to race or shout, but only to sit with him and breathe with him and watch the world get sleepy. One evening, when the air was especially calm and the clouds above the harbor were thin and feathery, Lian walked alone along the old stone pier. The stones were cool under his bare feet. They held the memory of the sun's warmth, but only just. He could feel rough grains where old shells had cracked and smoothed places where many feet had passed before him. He walked slowly, one step, then another, listening to the tiny slap of water against the pier. He breathed in the scent of salt and distant rain and something faintly sweet from the baker's shop behind him. As he reached the end of the pier, he stopped. The sea lay wide and glassy before him. It was so still that the sky seemed to be painted on the water. Long, soft clouds floated above long, silvery shapes that almost looked like something else if he squinted. Lian let out a small sigh. It slipped out of him like the last bit of air from a bellows. He wished, not for the first time, that he had a friend who liked to stand in silence at the edge of the world with him. He closed his eyes. He listened. He listened to the gentle lap of the water. He listened to the very quiet creak of the boats moving with the tide. He listened to the distant, muffled sound of someone closing a door and another person laughing softly far away. Carefully, Lian took in a deep breath, in and out. The night around him seemed to breathe with him. The water rose and fell. The clouds drifted slowly overhead. The air wrapped around him like a light blanket. When he opened his eyes again, something had changed. Far out over the water, where the first star was just beginning to appear, one of the long, silvery clouds was no longer quite a cloud. It had a shape, not just any shape, but a round, gentle one, like the body of a great whale. Its sides were faint and glowing, as if made of the softest mist. Its belly was pale as moonlight, and its back shimmered with tiny, sleepy stars that blinked inside it like slow fireflies in a jar. For a moment, Lian wondered if his eyes were tricking him. He blinked once, very slowly. The shape blinked back, too soft. Shining eyes appeared in the cloud, far away, yet very close, looking right at him. They were not sharp or frightening eyes. They were heavy-lidded and kind, like the eyes of someone who is always halfway to dreaming. Lian's heart gave a gentle jump, the cloud whale, because now he was sure that was what it was, tilted itself in the sky as if it were nodding. Then, very slowly, it began to drift closer. It glided over the water without a sound, its great, misty fins moving with long, unhurried strokes. Where it passed, the sky seemed to grow calmer, quieter, as if it were smoothing out invisible wrinkles in the air. Lian did not move. He stood still on the stone pier, rooted like an old post, his breath soft and shallow. When the cloud whale reached the edge of the harbor, it stopped. It hovered just above the water, so close that Lian could see the pale, swirling patterns along its sides. He could see little flecks of light drifting off its tail like pieces of broken starlight. He could feel a soft, cool breeze brushing his cheeks, smelling faintly of rain and something gentle and sweet, like the inside of a clean pillow. "Hello," Lian whispered. His voice sounded very small next to something so large and quiet, but the whale's eyes crinkled at the corners, as if smiling. In Lian's chest, something loosened. He felt suddenly that this great, sleepy creature understood him completely. The whale's mouth did not move like a human's, but somehow Lian heard its voice all the same. It did not come through the air. It came through the stillness, through the space between his breaths. "Hello, little one," the voice said, as calm as deep water. "I am Sora, the cloud whale of Evening Harbor. I come when the sky is soft and the hearts below grow heavy with wishes." Lian swallowed gently. My heart is heavy, he admitted, very quietly, but not in a bad way, just full. I think it's full of things I don't know where to put. The cloud whale's eyes softened even more. "I know," Sora replied. "I felt it from far away. Your wishes drifted up like lanterns, and I followed them here." Lian's fingers curled slightly against his sides. "I wanted a friend," he said. "Not a loud friend, not a racing friend, a quiet friend, a friend who likes when everything is soft." Sora's giant, misty tail moved once, lazily, as if stirring the air into a gentler shape. "Quiet friends are my favorite kind," Sora said. "I have sailed the skies above many harbors and many mountains, and I have listened to countless wishes, but the quiet ones are the ones that glow the brightest." Lian's chest warmed. "Will you stay?" he asked. Sora's eyes folded into a sleepy arc that looked very much like a smile. "I will stay for a while," the cloud whale said, "and if you like, you may come with me on a gentle journey. Not a scary one, not a wild one, a slow one, a soft one that starts with one deep breath." Lian felt the night around him getting even calmer. The waves were barely moving now. The lanterns along the harbor were beginning to blink on, one by one, like sleepy eyes. Sora said, "Let us breathe together." The great cloud whale lifted slightly higher in the sky, as if taking a long, slow inhale. Lian did the same. He breathed in through his nose, feeling the cool air fill his chest. He noticed how it felt, gentle, cool at first, then warm as it spread through him. He held it softly, not too tight. Then he breathed out, slowly, letting his shoulders fall, so released its breath. At the same time, a soundless sigh that rippled through the air. The clouds above seemed to relax. The boats rocked just a little, like sleepers turning on their pillows. "Again," Sora murmured. They took another breath, in and out, soft and slow, like the waves when the wind sleeps. With each breath, Lian felt his muscles soften, his jaw unclenched, his hands relaxed. His eyelids grew just the tiniest bit heavier, though he kept them open for now. "Unwilling to lose sight of the whale now," said Sora. "Step onto the water." Lian blinked. "The water," he whispered. "Do not worry," Sora replied. "Tonight, the sea is as gentle as a folded blanket. It will hold you up for as long as you need." Lian looked down. The surface of the harbor was so still that it really did look like glass. He could see his reflection there, small and serious, with big, dark eyes and hair ruffled by the breeze. He placed one bare foot out, very carefully, expecting to feel cold water and fall right through. Instead, the sea felt like something else entirely. It was cool, yes, but as he stepped onto it, it thickened under his foot, like stepping on a soft, invisible cushion. The water held him, lifting him gently. He took another small step, then another. Soon he was standing away from the pier entirely, his feet resting on the surface of the harbor, as if it were a soft, supportive floor. He looked up at Sora. The cloud whale lowered itself even more until its side came down like a great, misty hill beside him. "Climb aboard," it said. "We will go slowly." Lian reached out a hand. His fingers sank into the cloud whale's side. Not too far, just enough to feel how soft it really was. It was like touching cool, thick fog or the inside of a dream. There was resistance, enough to climb, but everything was still gentle, yielding, kind. He pulled himself up carefully. Sora did not rush him. The whale stayed perfectly still, humming a quiet, voiceless hum that seemed to vibrate through Lian's bones in the most comforting way. Step by step, Lian climbed onto Sora's broad back. Once he reached the top, he sank down, sitting cross-legged, cradling his legs and back as if it had been carved just for him. It was neither too cold nor too warm. It was exactly like the perfect pillow, cool against his skin, but never chilly, always welcoming, comfortable. Sora asked. "Very," Lian breathed. "Good," said the whale. "Then hold on to the sky and let us drift." Sora lifted at first. The motion was so small that Lian barely felt it. Just a gentle rise, a soft upward sigh. The harbor began to move away, not quickly, but like something slowly shrinking in a dream. The lights of the town glowed more brightly as they rose, little golden dots arranged along the shore. The people moved like slow shapes, their voices too soft to reach him now. The higher they floated, the quieter everything became. Soon, the only sounds Lian could hear were the faint whisper of the air sliding past and the distant, faraway hush of waves, like a secret being told under a blanket. He lay back fully now, stretching out on Sora's back. The cloud whale curved around him, forming a soft cradle. A slight mist rose up to cover him like a thin, shimmering quilt, cool on his cheeks, warm along his arms and chest. Above him, the sky was deepening. The color shifted from apricot to violet to deep blue. Stars pricked through, one by one, each one a tiny point of steady light. Some were sharp and bright, others were faint and sleepy, barely there, like half-remembered thoughts before sleep. Sora's voice floated around him. "Do you see them, Lian?" it asked. "Do you see how they appear slowly, never all at once? Each star waits its turn, patient and quiet." Lian smiled slightly, his eyes tracing the constellations slowly forming. "Yes," he whispered. "Sleep is like that," Sora said, its tone growing even softer. "It does not come all at once. It arrives in tiny pieces, one heavy eyelid, one slower breath, one relaxed shoulder, and then, before you know it, the sky of your mind is full of stars." Lian listened. His breath had already begun to match Sora's natural rhythm, in and out, long and even. His body felt heavier, but in a pleasant way, as if he were being gently pressed into a soft mattress. "Where are we going?" he asked quietly. "To the Isles of Drifting Dreams," Sora answered. "They are made of cloud and moonlight, and all the soft things that the world forgets during the day. There, the breezes whisper lullabies, and the ground breathes slowly beneath you." Lian closed his eyes for a moment, trying to imagine such a place. He saw in his mind's eye hills made of mist and valleys filled with warm, glowing fog. He imagined lying down on them and sinking just enough to feel supported on every side. When he opened his eyes again, he realized they had gone higher still. The harbor was a cluster of dim lights now, small and distant. The sea was a dark, shining sheet. The horizon had disappeared, blending seamlessly with the sky. He felt safe. He did not know why, but he trusted Sora completely as they drifted on. The cloud whale began to hum again. It was not a song exactly, not with words. It was a deep, long sound, as low and smooth as a distant drum played very slowly. The hum vibrated through Lian's chest, matching his heartbeat, encouraging it to slow, then slow again. Lian's arms grew heavy at his sides. His fingers curled loosely, no longer holding any tension. His feet relaxed, toes gently uncurling ahead. Shapes began to appear in the sky. At first, Lian thought they were more clouds, but as they floated closer, he saw that these clouds had forms to round, soft islands hanging in the air, layered one atop another, connected by gentle bridges of mist. Some were long and thin, like floating paths. Some were wide and flat, like fields of cotton. Each one glowed with a pale inner light, not bright, just enough to see the Isles of Drifting Dreams, Sora murmured as they approached the first island. Lian caught the faint scent of something familiar and comforting. It smelled like freshly washed sheets, warmed by the sun. It smelled like the pages of a favorite book. It smelled like a hug from someone who has been waiting for you all day. Sora slowed down even more. The whale's fins moved lazily, barely stirring the air. Here, it said, your thoughts will quiet themselves, one by one, like lanterns being gently dimmed for the night. They glided over the edge of the first island. Lian could see that its surface was not just plain cloud. It was made of millions of tiny, shimmering threads, woven together into a soft, glowing fabric. When the wind brushed over it, the threads rippled like grass in a field. Sora dipped low and then settled down carefully, pressing its belly into the surface of the island. Lian felt the ground beneath them give way slightly, then push back, holding them. He sat up slowly. The air here was even softer than the air above the harbor. It felt thick and gentle, like breathing through a warm scarf. With each breath, his chest rose and fell, his body loosening further around them. Other shapes drifted in the sky. There were smaller cloud creatures like Sora, tiny cloudfish flicking their tails, cloudbirds gliding with wings, almost too slow to see moving. Somewhere in the distance, he thought he saw another whale, huge and pale, carrying a sleeper on its back. Lian's heart swelled. He was not alone here. Other quiet hearts must have wished, just like he had, and they too had been carried to some soft place in the sky. Sora's eyes watched him kindly. You may walk here if you wish, the whale said. You may lie down. You may listen. Nothing will hurry you. Nothing will chase you. This is a place where even thoughts move slowly. Lian slid gently off Sora's back. His feet sank into the island's surface as if into warm, cooled bread. He left soft impressions where he stepped, but they slowly filled in again behind him, leaving no tracks. He walked a little way, not far, just enough to feel the island beneath him. Every few steps, a tiny, colorless flower would bloom and then fade, leaving the faintest of sweet smells behind. He bent to sniff one and felt the fragrance drift up into his mind, making his thoughts even heavier and softer. Far above him, tiny stars hung low, as if someone had pulled the sky down closer so he could see it better. Lian lifted his hands toward them, but he did not need to catch them. It was enough just to know they were there. After a while, he returned to Sora's side. The whale had curled itself slightly, forming a half circle of cloud. In the middle of that half circle was a hollow, perfectly sized for a small boy. Lian understood. He climbed into the hollow and lay down on his back. The cloud cradle rose up around his shoulders, under his knees, behind his head. It supported his neck in exactly the right way. He could feel the gentle coolness of the mist on his cheek and the comforting, subtle pressure of the cloud beneath him. His eyelids fluttered. They did not need to close completely yet, but they were no longer eager to stay open. Sora's voice came again, softer than ever. You have come far tonight, the whale said, farther than most feet ever travel. You have risen above the harbor, above the waves, above all the little noises that sometimes make it hard to hear your own breathing. Lian listened to his own breath, in and out, and out. Each inhale felt like a soft wave rolling in. Each exhale felt like that wave slipping away, leaving smooth, quiet sand behind. Tell me, Sora asked gently, do you still feel alone? Lian thought about it. He felt the cloud stood beneath him. He felt the comforting curve of Sora's great body around him. He felt the presence of other drifting creatures in the distance, moving slowly through the sky. "No," he whispered, "not at all." "Good," said Sora, and Lian could hear the smile in the whale's voice. Sometimes, all a quiet heart needs is another quiet heart to sit beside it, or to drift with it, or simply to breathe with it. The whale's vast side rose and fell, rising as it breathed in, falling as it breathed out. Lian's chest copied the rhythm unconsciously. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. The island itself seemed to be breathing too as he lay there. Lian could feel the surface beneath him lift very slightly with each imaginary inhalation, then lower again with each exhalation, like a giant, slow lung supporting him above. A soft breeze began to move. It flowed over his face, carrying with it the faint sounds of the isles, a distant tinkling like tiny bells, the hush of mist sliding past mist, and somewhere the softest of lullabies hummed by a voice he could not quite hear. "Close your eyes if you wish," Sora whispered, "or leave them open and simply watch them grow heavier. There is no rush here. Sleep is never in a hurry. It will come when it is ready. And when you are ready for it," Lian let his eyes drift almost closed. The stars above became soft blurs of light. The edges of the island grew fuzzy. Sora's great, curved shape around him felt like the safest wall in the world. He did not feel the need to say much anymore. His thoughts were no longer sharp or quick. They were like slow bubbles rising from the bottom of a deep pond. One bubble rose. "Will I see Sora again?" Another bubble rose. "Will the harbor look different when I go back?" Another bubble rose. "Maybe I don't want to think at all right now." He let them all float away. Sora spoke once more. "Even when you return to the harbor," the cloud whale said softly, "I will be there, sailing above the clouds. Each evening, when the sky becomes soft and your heart grows heavy in that warm, peaceful way, look up. You may not always see me, but I will feel your breath, your quiet wishes, your slowing thoughts." Lian's lips curved in the faintest smile. "Will you? Will you still be my friend?" he murmured. The answer came like a blanket settling over his shoulders. "Always," Sora said. "Friendship is like the sea and the sky. Even when you cannot see every part of it, it is still there, wrapped all around you." Lian's body relaxed completely. His arms lay limp at his sides. His legs rested heavily, fully supported. His back felt as if it were melting into the cloud, as if he were becoming part of it. The air around him was now the perfect temperature, not too cold, not too cold. His breathing was slow and easy in this quiet cradle high above the world. Time did not matter. Maybe only a few minutes passed. Maybe many hours slid by like soft, layered waves. It did not make any difference. All that mattered was the feeling of being held, gently and safely, between sky and cloud, and the slow, steady presence of a friend. The last thing Lian remembered before sleep took him was Sora's hum, deep and steady, like the heartbeat of the night itself. That hum wrapped around his thoughts, smoothing out every crease, turning each leftover worry into a soft, round stone that rolled gently away. His eyelids, at last, closed fully. His breath flowed in and out, a quiet tide. His mind drifted down and down and down, wonderful sleep. Far below, evening harbor glowed softly. The boats rocked like cradles. The water whispered against the shore. Lanterns burned low in the windows of small wooden houses. If anyone had looked up at just the right moment, they might have seen a pale whale-shaped cloud gliding slowly past the stars, carrying something small and precious in the curve of its back. But most people were already slipping into dreams of their own, their breaths slow, their bodies heavy and calm, and high above them all. Lian slept on the isles of drifting dreams, wrapped in mist and moonlight and the quiet, sure promise that he was no longer alone. And as he slept, the sky breathed in and out, soft and steady, just like you. If you are listening now, wrapped in your own blankets, feeling the gentle pull of rest, you can let your body grow heavier, like Lian's. You can let your thoughts slow, like the drifting clouds. You can let your breath become the quiet tide of your own harbor. And when you are ready, whenever you are ready, you can float too into your own deep, wonderful sleep.